Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy Sunday to you. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend like I am as I roll towards my first vacation in 2 years. So I'm super excited about that. I got a lot of work to do before I go on Wednesday, but I'm in the downhill stretch, but I got to keep my foot on the gas until I get on that plane. So yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video because there's a couple things that I've found when I was doing my research that have kind of just, as I put these things together, it really kind of was surprising to me, although not that surprising, but and then it ended up kind of just pissing me off, and then I thought, well, let me just talk about it and get back in a good mood. Now I'm in a good mood, it's fine. So I don't know how old a lot of you are. Guys like me remember 1977. In 1977, well, 1976 was our bicentennial anniversary as a nation. And so we had been a country for 200 years. And in 1977, for the first time in that 200-year history, the government decided that it would be a good idea for them to tell us how to eat. And at the time, a lot of people were a little upset about that because, again, we'd done fine for 200 years as a nation and hundreds of thousands of years as a species without the government telling us what to eat. But they felt that we were getting more and more unhealthy. There was a big push towards more plant-based eating, and the low-fat, high-carb craze kind of took place. So a lot of you might remember when this happened, and this should look familiar to everybody, even if they weren't around in 1977. And you can see that it's 6 to 7 servings of pastas, grains, cereals, and breads. Okay. And minimal servings, the vegetable parts, that's okay, it's kind of in the middle. And then the vegetable, or the meats are at the less, and then the fat are at the very lowest. And so it's like, okay, well, the way we've all been indoctrinated into this, it kind of made sense, at least back then. So a lot of people actually tried it. And believe it or not, the majority of people did. But you wouldn't think that would be the case, because why do we now have an epidemic of diabetes, heart disease, obesity, stroke, Alzheimer's, all the bad things that have happened in the last 20 to 30 years? So if you take a look at this next picture, now this isn't I'm not doing this to get into a creationist versus evolutionist debate. I think this is just for illustrative purposes only, but we did fine. You can see we got here, we stayed here, we reproduced, we were healthy, happy, and our brains kept growing. We learned to make tools, we learned to create civilization, we learned to create art and music and all these wonderful things. And then the result of the food pyramid and the guidelines that came out in 1977, are right here. So look at this slide just for a second. So guidelines are put out, and look at the way the lines all go up. So and especially the 18-year-old group. I mean, that's ridiculous. So, but everything went up. Apparently it wasn't until the mid-90s that they tracked the 65 and up group, but right away that started launching up and trended just with the other ones. So this tells me that people were actually following these guidelines. These people were following the advice, and they were getting more and more obese because of it. Another indication of that is, if you look at this next slide, all of these I stole from the internet. I hope that the people that had used these in their conference talks don't mind, but I think we're a small enough group that A, they probably won't know I did it, and B, if they did, they probably would be happy that I'm sharing them with you. Anyway, so this next slide shows red meat availability versus diabetes. Now, red meat availability, what does that mean? Well, I mean, we live in a supply and demand world, at least in this country, And so as people ate less and less meat because they were following the guidelines given to us by the government, this is what happened. So red meat availability, meaning consumption, goes down, diabetes goes up. Okay, that's great. So go back to the evolution slide. So in 28, 30 year time frame, we went from this directly to this, and this is where we are today. So what we need to do is ignore those, literally do everything the opposite of what they're telling us. You don't need 6 to 10 servings of grain a day. That's ridiculous. So literally we need to flip the pyramid on its head and redistribute the food groups in literally the opposite direction. I've talked in different videos before that we're kind of in bizarro world. We're, up is down, down is up, and the sky is orange, and all of that. And it's true. We're doing everything the exact opposite of what they tell us to do. And they lose their minds about it. And you know why? It's because their entire careers have been based upon this. And they just can't bring themselves to admit that they've been wrong this whole time. And not only have they been wrong, but people have died because of their errors. And I firmly believe this, and that's why I get a little ticked off. I'm a little red, but I was out in the sun, but I'm a little redder than normal. It's probably mostly the sun, but maybe being a little ticked off. But so if I'm wrong, then that means in 1977, at the exact same time that we had these guidelines given to us, and then if we didn't follow it, and I'm wrong about that, that means as a nation collectively, we all lost our freaking minds and ate whatever the hell we want. Meanwhile, the 200 years prior to 1977, we did fine without the government telling us what to eat. Mom and grandma and dad knew what to provide, and we stayed healthy. We didn't have a diabetic epidemic. We didn't have an obesity problem. We didn't have heart disease and strokes at the levels that we do today. And when people did die, they died from things that we can now cure, infectious diseases and things like that. And so don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying medicine is bad. We've made great advances to prolong and enhance our lives, but this ain't it, right? So again, we got to turn the pyramid upside down, eat the opposite. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I know a lot of you are starting. I want to welcome some of the new members, and I'm glad that some new people are finding the group. Please share with people that you think can benefit from the information that we share here. And everybody's welcome as long as they come in with, a positive and supportive attitude. That's what we have here. We're not going to allow keto cops. We're not going to allow any finger wagging, like I said previously. So if anybody sees that kind of thing, let's kind of nip that in the bud. But open and honest debate is fine. It's not like I have a way it's going to be and then that's it. Mike Orelli, who is one of our members, and I disagree on a couple things, but they're fine points. They're very fine points. Overall, we agree wholeheartedly with eating basically a low-carb lifestyle, and the areas we disagree are the finer points. And it's like Kim Howerton said in a conference talk a couple months ago, when we get to negotiate or talking about these little points, it's kind of like a couple in the paint store saying, should we go with the pink or the rose, right? So, when there are little disagreements, we can talk about them and respect each other's opinion and even agree to disagree. There's not one way to do this, and everybody is different. So that means your body is different than everybody else's. So everybody's different, everybody is different. And so it is a process of learning and adapting, and what works for you may not work for me. Some people do really, really great on a straight carnivore diet. Some people love vegetables, some people hate them. And the other nice thing is that cravings change. When you start, you might crave some sweets, you might crave some bread and pasta and some starches and things like that. I know I did. And then once I got on it, I don't. You know what, this is honest truth. And it surprised me because I would have bet you a year's salary a year ago that this was impossible. Last night, I was actually craving greens. Yeah, greens. I'm talking like Swiss chard, collard greens, mustard greens, spinach. I was like, I gotta go get some fresh greens to cook with this pork chop tonight, because I'm gonna saute it in some olive oil and some butter and some garlic and some spices. And I was like, I can't wait to eat all that iron and those nutrients, because when I eat that stuff, I get supercharged. I feel fantastic from it. So, hey, I love my veggies, and I'm eating new things that I've never even really tried before. And surprisingly, I'm actually kind of craving them. Again, a year ago, I'd have bet you a year's paycheck that wouldn't have happened. So good thing I didn't do that, right? So anyway, stick with it. Let's see where this journey goes. And don't worry about the mistakes. Don't worry about the hiccups. Don't worry about the stalls. This is an imperfect journey. We're imperfect beings. But learn as you go, ask questions, and stick with it, because no matter what the scale says, you're getting healthier, you're getting better, you're doing wonderful things for your body that's going to prolong your life to allow you and your loved ones to spend more time together as you both get older in a healthy way. So remember, you're stronger than you know you are. Just get through those moments of weakness, and we all have them. But and when you fail, get right back up, dust yourself off, and get back to work, because you can do this. Have a great weekend, guys. This will probably be the last video I make before I get back from vacation, and then have probably some damage control to do. As in my last live, I'm not going to be particularly good. I'll be good when I can, but hey, it's vacation. It's my first one in 2 years. I'm going to have a good time. I hope you guys have a great time. Keep reading, keep learning, and encourage each other. Take care.